Spoiler alert, the GLA 250 is a much better vehicle now. I'll tell you all about it. Subscribe, okay?
If you think the migration to SUVs and crossovers is a unique American phenomena, well, nope, it's happening all over the world. In the US, we go for the bigger ones because we have the space to park them and cheap fuel to feed them. Other markets prefer smaller ones, like the all-new 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLA 250. Proving my point, Mercedes has moved over 1 million copies of the GLA since 2014, and there's Audi Q3, BMW X1 and X2, Cadillac XT4, Lexus UX, Mini Countryman, and Volvo XC40 maybe even Tesla Model Y if you want electric, so there are big choices in small crossovers.
GLA is taller now by some 3 inches, so it looks less like a hatchback and more like the SUV crossover that Mercedes markets it as. It rides on an all-new platform that it shares with the GLB, which has 3 rows of seating. This one has 2.
GLA is marketed as the sportier of the two, the kind of vehicle targeted towards younger singles and couples or empty nesters that don't need a large car but want practicality. And back to size, it's a half-inch shorter and just over an inch wider now. Retail pricing begins at about $37,300, but let's face it, to get the true Mercedes experience, options must be added. A significant amount of buyers will hand over $2,000 for all-wheel drive and the off-road engineering package that's bundled with it. Same goes for moving from 7-inch displays to these larger 10.25-inch screens. That's part of the $1,750 premium package. As seen here in upgraded mountain gray metallic paint, this one retails for $51,200. Add more stuff and it'll crest at just over 57 large. Small doesn't mean inexpensive. This has the star, so you know that going in. No word if the plug-in hybrid model is coming to the US. For now, GLAs get their motivation from a turbocharged 2-liter inline 4-cylinder, offering up 221 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and a distinct coarse sound outside the car. Fortunately, it isn't heard inside. An 8-speed dual-clutch transmission takes care of shifting duties. While this isn't a sports car, manual shifts are a thing in the GLA. And there are modes, including a custom setting to adjust the throttle, dampers, steering, and transmission response to your liking. How Mercedes.
If you have the need for speed, never fear, AMG will be coming to the rescue soon, but the GLA 250 here is actually fairly quick off the line. 0 to 60 happens in about 6 seconds.
Mercedes says the GLA 45 AMG, with its 382 horsepower, will cut some 2 seconds off the 60-mile-an-hour sprint. Count on it vacuuming a lot of money from your wallet, too. The 250 should be plenty punchy for most people.
For a small crossover, you do sit on the high side, not a ton of ground clearance. GLA is good for some light off-roading, but really, the city is its natural habitat. Chuck this thing into a corner, and it's surprisingly engaging. It's kind of fun to drive.
Brake torque vectoring helps. So does the compact size that adds confidence when snaking through dense urban traffic. The Europeans and Asians understand big is not always best. I had a good time from behind the wheel. Maybe it's not quite as compelling as the BMW X2, but certainly fun enough. No complaints about the dual clutch calibration, and body roll and dive are kept to a minimum, for a crossover.
Ride quality is smooth and supple. It's quiet in here too. It's a Mercedes.
Larger Mercedes crossovers with longer wheelbases have a more plush feel to them. With a fully independent suspension, this small vehicle is about as polished as it can be. The optional navigation system offers up very useful augmented reality cues. GLA gets a lot of features found on larger Mercedes, if optioned up, of course. You'll want the $1,700 driver assistance package that boosts the active electronic safety tech to a very high level. This includes route-based adaptive cruise control that knows to slow down for sharper turns, evasive steering assist, even a system that points out pedestrians near crosswalks. It's actually a good deal.
On the highway, the lane keep assist is excellent. It stays locked within the lane, doesn't bob between the stripes. Nobody's going to report you as a drunk driver. And it takes gentle curves pretty confidently. Good stuff.
It also changes lanes with the tap of a turn signal on the freeway. Easy enough to do on your own, but it's a trick that impresses friends. The second-gen GLA is more fuel efficient by a couple mpgs. On average, the EPA figures it'll go 27 miles on a gallon of specified premium gasoline, and that's pretty much what I saw.
Nearly all modern cars have automatic engine start-stop systems these days to save fuel. The GLA's is really pretty good. You'll probably leave it on, but if you want to turn it off, it's just right there.
Visibility is decent, though like the outgoing model, checking the blind spot over my left shoulder offers up a face full of B-pillar, something to check on your test drive. My biggest complaint with the first GLA? The interior was not exactly Mercedes grade. It felt like the budget model. Buyers will feel a lot better about spending 51 grand when looking at all this. While there is some material evidence that you're not in a GLE or GLS, my eye sees the cabin as best in class. These have a silky feel to them too. Practical touches include an umbrella tray and cup holders that are good for both Red Bull cans and the biggest of gulps, a nod to American consumption here. There are storage cubbies scattered all around, none of them big. This is a small vehicle after all, but it helps to keep a person organized. One thing though, you'll be buying new cords or adapters since Mercedes is moving to the future of USB. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard kit. Gesture controls are optional. There are also tiny trackpads here that work better than you might imagine. You can change up the gauge cluster and such.
The voice command system in this car is pretty good. It's called MBUX. You can ask it all sorts of questions like, where's the closest coffee shop? Or, hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?
What do you think of BMW?
They're nice. I like seeing them through my rear view mirror.
Little bit of shade.
It works well, and that's good since I find some of the features are buried a little deeper in the menu than I like. The touchpad is far better than what you'll find in a Lexus, but I use the screen that's easy to reach with excellent response. Remember, these are the large panels, and you're going to want them. The leather seats, optional of course, are heated and can be vented too. That means spending more money. They're on the firm side and should fit a wide variety of drivers. The $1,500 panoramic roof gives the space a more airy feeling, good because this is a small vehicle. While my camera can't do it justice, the optional ambient lighting package will encourage midnight Taco Bell runs, even if delivery is available. There's a little bit of Tron happening in here, and it can be set to all the colors of the rainbow, including some presets that offer up color combinations, including a blue and green combo I think Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll would dig. Go Hawks. Lighting is just another differentiator between luxury and mainstream brands these days. That goes for both inside and out.
Well, backseat connoisseur, what do you think? Rather be in an S-Class. Stay focused. I like what I like, okay? We're both 5'9". Knee, leg, and foot room are good, especially for my size 11s. Look at that. Cushions are high enough so that thigh support is good. If you're often bringing car seats in and out here, this space is a little small. Bring those on your test drive. Door pockets, about average. This is a small vehicle. This is a lot of plastic to look at. At least there are pockets on both sides. No power ports? Kidding. Here they are. This one is a regular household outlet, good for charging computers. No heated seats. That's why I want an S-Class. The drive shaft tunnel, a little bit on the big side, that kind of cuts into space. GLA is available with seats that slide fore and aft. It's just not on this vehicle. My professional recommendation, keep it to 2 back here and everybody will be happy. Wish there were cup holders here though, because really, there's no place for me to put my coffee. So I just called Costco and they're out of TP. People, what are you doing with all that stuff? Don't blame me. I always return it when I'm done with that test.
At 15.4 cubic feet, the cargo hold is a tiny bit larger now. The first gen took on 5 packs of TP. That won't change. And I took the security cover off to show that at the very least, you don't have to leave it at home. There is no spare tire, just a repair kit. Not great if you're off-roading. The floor drops to a lower level if you don't store things under it. There are small details to help functionality. I wish every car had this elastic strap, or 2 of them. Optioned right, the seat backs have a rake adjustment. It's easy enough to drop them. It's not a completely flat load floor if you need that, but I find the 40-20-40 split to be useful. The second generation GLA's design has fewer creases and lines than the first one. It's a softer look that's a better family fit with the larger GLC and GLE. In nearly every dimension inside, it's roomier than the first generation, but not by a huge amount. There's an illuminated star option, but remember, if you're the driver, you may never see it. GLA does not redefine the design language of crossovers. It's a conservative draw, but it looks bigger now and it looks like a Mercedes. It's what was needed. Let's wrap this up with red light, green light. Green light. Ride quality and driving dynamics are great for a small vehicle. You'll make excuses to linger in the quality cabin. The GLA is improved in every way, and it has the practicality that people want from a crossover. Yellow lights. You may not hear the grumbly engine sound, but passerbys will wonder about it. There's well-done tech, but much of it, like the best active safety features, are extra cost. The user interface could be a little easier to navigate. Red light. The price spiral of options might be expected with Mercedes, but I don't have to like it. Crossovers with even light off-road capability should come with spare tires. Premium fuel will add to operating costs. If you think that less expensive, small mainstream crossovers like Buick Encore GX, Chevy Trailblazer, Hyundai Kona, Kia Seltos, and Mazda CX-30 have similar utility tech and features to the GLA at a much lower price, well, yes, they do. But everything about the Mercedes is a cut above, sometimes 2 cuts. There's a clear difference when you start paying this kind of money for a vehicle. Only you can tell if the extra coin is worth it. The 2021 GLA 250 doesn't get much bigger, but it's all grown up now. It's a crossover that upper middle class buyers all over the world can embrace. My best advice to buyers has always been to test drive as many cars in class as possible. Recently, I've added getting price quotes to that strategy to make sure that you don't pay too much for the vehicle that you decide on. There are a number of places to do that. I used cars.com when I bought mine. I feel so strongly about it, I'm starting up a quote service soon. Whatever source you use, it can save you some money. It's like giving yourself a raise. A behind-the-scenes note, not sure what was happening, but shooting the GLA was an ordeal. My GoPro did odd things like freeze randomly. This is raw video, no effects used at all. The iPad that I used to make sure that the shots are good flipped out and had to be rebooted twice. Martin Campbell usually shoots a still shot for the video thumbnail, but the card in his camera was corrupted. Weird stuff. It happens, but not usually to this degree.
You've made it to the end. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, you really should. I mean, I'm assuming that you enjoyed it. You could have clicked away long ago. And at the end, I try to provide a fun fact. This week, it's the Mercedes star. What does it mean? It actually does mean something. It's representative of the company's use of engines in the air, on the land, and in the water. Yep, air, land, water. It's not an incomplete peace sign. Use that one at your next party. If we ever go to parties again. I sure hope so. It would be nice. Thanks for watching. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.